Let us welcome the fourth speaker. The fourth speaker is Miss Ayane Mizuno from Doshisha University. She will deliver the speech under the title of Treasure or Burden. Treasure or Burden. So Miss Mizuno, please come to the stage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson and distinguished judges and questioners. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I had a very close friend since I was 3 years old. Every day I used to play with her and talk a lot. However, one day her declaration began to change on my peaceful days. Every day I dared her run for 8 hours after school. She thought negatively and attempted suicide in front of me. I couldn't deal with her even though I tried to get some knowledge through a lot of media. She was no doubt my precious treasure. On the other hand, I gradually became impatient and couldn't stop feeling hatred toward her. In the end, she turned into just a burden. I was too exhausted. While about us, both of our parents made us separate. We have never met ever since. Now, looking back on it, I have always regretted not knowing the way to keep our precious friendship. If I had, we would have been friends after this very day. Today, I am standing here to talk about the burden of caregivers. I hope my speech will help caregivers who care patients with mental illnesses reduce their burden. In Japan, there are many caregivers who care patients with mental illnesses, such as depression and integration disorder syndrome. The Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare estimates that there are 6 million patients in Japan. Since 80% of them live with their family, there will be more than 5 million caregivers. Although a number of caregivers are desperately trying to help their patients, ironically, caregivers themselves need some help now. Actually, in Japan, there is a negative change. The Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare says about 70% caregivers are exhausted with patients' behavior, such as attempting suicide or endless negative thinking. Sadly, due to that, 40% of health caregivers also suffer from mental illness. The Merida Family Program also shows a surprising fact that caregivers' risk of mental disorder is 3 times as high as ordinary people. To share caregivers' huge burden and grief, let me show you an example of female caregiver. She was a mother and she took care of her son with mental illness. Needless to say, she really wanted to help him. However, she didn't know how to treat him when he began to fight with invisible enemies. She didn't know how to stop when he attempted to kill himself. She didn't know how much time she should face him. When she heard him shout with hostility, her exhausted heart was filled with grief, trouble, and emptiness. All that she felt was helplessness. She couldn't find out what to do for him, and sadly and ironically, she also developed mental illness. Then why didn't they help their patients without suffering from mental burdens? That is because there is limited support for caregivers. Now in Japan, there are few family doctors, little telephone consultation service, or adaptive information for caregivers. In addition, each patient has different characters or symptoms. Therefore, there is no absolutely right way of caring. Due to this fact, it is difficult for caregivers to care patients. Some may think the best way way is to put patients in mental hospitals. However, this is not what the caregivers want. They do not want to leave their family member alone in the hospital. Rather, they want to have them on their own as much as they can. What the second one is the way to get along well with the mentally ill family member. Not just get rid of their fatigue or burden, but accept and cherish their precious one like treasure. So we need a system to help them continue their care. In order to support caregivers, I would like the Japanese government to introduce Family Work Project. It is a system that aims for direct support for caregivers. A team of psychotherapists and psychiatrists visit caregivers' houses and give advice and consultation. For example, how to treat symptoms of patient's recurrence, how to rest themselves, or how to manage a conflict in their family. A case of England shows the effectiveness of family work. Mr. Peter Wuhan, who has experienced this program, says, "Before using family work, our life was like a never-ending nightmare. But thanks to this program, we were able to have hope for the future, and now we enjoy our life." Moreover, this program is very helpful for the patients. In fact, an average recurrence rate used to be about 83%. But after introducing family work, that rate dramatically decreased to 70%. I strongly suggest the Japanese government should also introduce family work project. However, the problem is this project is not very known in Japan. If it got much more familiar among people, that will help introduce it to Japan. In order to achieve it, our voices are absolutely necessary. Now, the NGO of Minna is conducting a program aiming for introducing family work into Japan and collecting signatures. We should cooperate with each other. Therefore, I would like you to put your name on their website to show your support. Please imagine, if your parents or friends developed mental disorder, what would you do for them? Suddenly, mental disorder makes you a treasure and a burden, even if you want to help them. It is not someone else's matter. Everyone has the possibility to have burden. I really hope all of you can cherish your precious one forever with generosity and love. Thank you for listening.
Now, we would like to move on to the question and answer session. Ms. Marumoto, please.
Hello, and thank you for sharing your story with us today. You mentioned about the family work project that is very successful in England. How did you find out about this project?
When I searched a way to help caregivers, I found on the internet.
Okay, yes. So you found about family work project through
Yes.
the internet. Okay. How does this concept fit into the Japanese society? Because as you also said in your speech, caregivers in Japan may not want to seek outside help, and they may want to care for their family members at home and try to help them themselves. So, what can we do, or what can people do to convince these family members to seek outside help? If they had a choice of going to family work project in Japan.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Okay, so my question is that Japanese family members may not be so outgoing to seek for help outside their family. So how can you convince people that this is a very good place to go for advice or to seek help?
I think now caregivers don't try to go outside to support to need support. Caregivers, when caregivers want to help, we should notice that caregivers are suffering now, because around us maybe there are a lot of people who are suffering from mental burdens, and also there are caregivers. So we should applaud them and give a way to support, give a way to deal with this problem.
Okay, thank you. And the next issue is that you talked about the hospitals, right? And I agree that hospitals may not be the best place for people with mental disorders, but are there ways to improve their care at hospitals?
Now in Japan, the hospital try to care patients, but it takes too long time. So they have patients for a long time. So to improve their skill, I think hospitals should have a lot of doctors and who can approach directly, who is familiar to patients. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morimoto and Ms. Mizuno. Now, it is Doshisha.